Hey guys, this is going to be a guide on how to do Sirus as Toxic Rain Champion. I'll preface this by saying it's not going to be a fun fight. It can take upwards of 20 minutes depending on your DPS. Since it's early in the league, you might not have the best DPS. But there are a few things you should also be doing as setup to prepare to make the fight a little bit easier. One issue is with your mana. What I like to do is I like to take this node right here where you get one mana flash charge every 3 seconds. That helps out a little bit. Also make sure you're using an enduring mana flask. Another extremely helpful thing is getting a prefix craft for non-channeling skills have minus to total cost of mana. You can get it on your amulet. You can get it on your ring. The values are 6 to 7, but if you can get it 9 to 10, like I have here, if you unveil it from an Elrion ring. You can also buff these numbers from catalysts. Like my Toxic Rain is 16 mana right now. If you don't do this, it could be upwards of 30. With these mana changes, the fight feels a lot smoother. Other changes you should do when estimating your damage in POB, I would change the max pods from 5 to 4. Sirus has a pretty small character model. He's like the same size as you. And you don't always hit all your pods. And while we're talking about hitting pods, you want to have small AoE because increased AoE spreads out the pods as well as increasing their area of effect. But it's actually better to have very small AoE so they all land really close together. And ways to do that, my Toxic Rain has 0 quality. That lowers the AoE. And I'm not running faster attacks. I'm not running Mirage Archer, which would normally be what you'd be running. I have Conk Effect in here instead, just to reduce the area of effect. Then you gotta make sure you're clicking it right on top of Sirus, but it will make sure more pods hit. And still, I would just assume you're hitting 4 pods. Another thing in POB is you should disable your frenzy charges, because if you're using Blood Rage, which most of you probably are, that is on kill, it's not on hit. I'm using a Redeemer chest, which has 10% chance to gain frenzy charge on hit, so I can technically get frenzy charges, but if you don't have this, make sure you're not accounting for the fact that you will be getting frenzy charges. Alright, let's get into this fight and see how it goes.
Did you really think this would work?
I don't know if 1 mana charge or a flask will be enough. You probably want to have 2, and probably 2 life flasks as well. I'm just going to try it like this because I did do a lot of quality of life stuff on my tree and on my gear. So I'm hoping this will be good, but still might not be good enough.
Perhaps the suffering of my fellow citizens will finally stir some.
This is a Sirus 8, and if this is your first Sirus of the league as Toxic Rain, I would honestly suggest highly considering doing it at Awakener level 0. Because the fight sucks only because of damage issues. It's like you're generally pretty tanky, but like you might want to just make sure you can do it without it taking forever, and then on your second Sirus, try it at a higher level. For reference, I think I'm in the top 30 on PoE Ninja for champion toxic rain damage, so I'll link my POV after in the comments of the video, so you can compare your damage to mine. But like, if this doesn't take 20 minutes, it probably won't. It doesn't mean yours will not take literally forever if you try it on Awakener 8.
Warrant all this pain.
An upside to doing Sirus on your toxic rain lead starter is I think it's really good at training you for the mechanics, because the fight takes fairly long, so you will see all the mechanics. And also, as champion, you're pretty tanky, so it's quite a forgiving build in terms of you won't necessarily lose even if you get hit by the mechanics. In my first run, that slam in the maze, I tanked it and I didn't die. Which you can't say for a lot of builds. Although I'm not going to tank it on purpose here. But I do think you can die from it.
My spirits are spent.
Feel the thrill of the war.
As Toxic Rain, just in general, your biggest weakness is degen. And in this fight, your biggest weakness is standing in the ground degen. So this stuff, you gotta make sure you don't stand in that. Other than that, you're just focusing on having 4 Wither totems up and getting him whenever you have the chance. Thankfully, you do pierce through his energy shield, so he doesn't regen his life. So you will eventually kill him. So yeah, I can just tank that beam, it doesn't matter. I'm running out of my mana flask. I definitely should have had two. It's okay. Next time I do this, I'll for sure bring two. Right there, it took a bunch of damage just because I was standing in the degen pool of the ground.
My spirit's a spent.
Feel the thrill of
Everlasting fire.
Nice. So how long did that take? 12-minute video, I was talking for maybe 3 minutes, 10-minute fight, and I have pretty good DPS, so yeah, just don't expect this to be fast, and don't get too impatient. So I guess we can go over my gear quickly, so you can compare it to yours. The helmet, I don't get any damage from the helmet. The quiver, 26 dot multi with attack skills, 12% attack speed. Those are two really good damage mods. You can also get chaos damage over time multiplier on the quiver, so this isn't best in slot by any means. The amulet, I have just 21 damage over time multiplier. You could also get +1 to chaos spell gems. I don't have that. The boots are just stats. The belt is just stats. The glove has a bit of chaos damage over time multiplier, attack speed, stats. The chest has frenzy charges, which is big on bosses. That's really big damage. The ring, despair on hit, some damage on there. The other ring, there's attack speed, but I wouldn't try and get attack speed on rings. It's a pretty rare roll. I just happened to get it on there. I wasn't even looking for that. And this bow, this is a meta-crafted bow. It costs around 11 exalts. I have a video on my channel showing me crafting the bow, and it goes through the process. So this is a bow. Anyone can make this bow for around 11 exalts. There's not much RNG involved. It's just basically you're just bench crafting and manipulating the cannot roll attack mods and multi-mod so that you can guarantee these outcomes. As for the links, it's all pretty normal, except obviously conk effect, which you would not be having if you weren't bossing. I'm going to take that off now. And I have an Empower 3. This bow is built around having an Empower because it has +2 to level of socketed support gems, which buffs the Empower, which in turn buffs Toxic Rain. So I'm level 27 Toxic Rain. In terms of the tree, there's nothing crazy on the tree. have a chaos damage cluster, and these proj damage clusters with repeater and shrieking bolts. They're really cheap. I have 2 of them. They're really good damage. They cost around 30C at the time of the video. If you want to look into detail on everything on this POB, you can find it in the description. Let me know how Toxic Rain works on Sirus for you guys. It's a pretty hard fight. There's no shame in failing it on your first try. I failed it my first try of this league. I got a little cocky. I was trying to do it Awakener 8. I did not have this gear set up. My damage was about 4 times worse. It took me 25 minutes, and eventually I just died to standing in the degen enough times. Anyways, I'll see you guys around.